Alright guys, this is part whatever it's titled, because I don't know. I think it's 3 or 4. Maybe it's 4. Yeah, I have 3 questions on the Facebook page. This will be done. I'm going to go with the first question, not the most recent, and kind of go from there. They're kind of long questions, but hopefully I can get them done. Rob Graham asked, looking to buy some new trainers, sneakers to you, I'm guessing. I think he's probably from the UK or something. For general weightlifting and perhaps the odd bit of cardio, and any you could recommend. Maybe I don't have my, I do. These are the Reebok Nano 2.0s. If you're here, Reebok, I'd like a sponsorship. Yeah, these are Reebok Nano 2.0s. They're like a CrossFit shoe. So if you hate CrossFit, you don't want to have CrossFit on your shoe, don't buy these, I guess. These are an awesome shoe. I think this is the best like trainer type shoe that I've had. I use these for deadlifts recently. I used to, pull barefoot or really like a completely flat sole. These have a little bit of sole on them, so I think if you don't want to invest in like a squat shoe or something like that, this might be a good in between. It's not a squat shoe. I mean, it's gonna bend on you. It's got very little support. It's kind of a good hybrid though between like a true minimus of like a New Balance minimus that I think I have. I just got shoes everywhere. So like this is like a New Balance minimus that's a lot thinner. As you can tell, there's not really much to this sole here. These are nice like for wearing around. And again, you can like lift in these. I'll like bench press in these or something like that sometimes too. But the Reebok Nano 2.0s are awesome. If you're looking for like an all-around good training shoe, I like do like a Metcon in those, and I'll pretty much do those anything but squats. That's just because I have a squat shoe, the Romaleos too. But I have done front squats with those before, and it was fine. And I have horrible ankle range of motion, so it helps a little bit. Again, I like it because it gives a little bit of support. It's not true barefoot, but again, it gives you like that kind of barefoot feeling as well. So check those out if you're looking at a good shoe, Rob. Adrian Garcia, I think is your name. Hey Ferris, saw your YouTube video for the Q&A proposal. I have a question on DUP and how could one set up their own protocol. I realize this is kind of an extensive question, but I'm really trying to structure my own currently. I have been playing around with undulating the sets rep schemes, but after this current block I'm wondering what I could do to continue the progress. If you have any recommendations on maybe literature or whatever, I would greatly appreciate the help. Thanks, man. I need to go back to school. I can't read. But yeah, I answered a question, so hopefully check out, like, I'll probably have these titles like what I talked about in the video. I just answered the DUP question a little bit ago as far as, again, if you've been setting up your own protocol, you probably understand as the reps get lower, you should do higher sets, kind of a thing. Again, I think I talked about this before in the last Q&A or whenever ago. Small Op Junior is a great way to, not to start, but to get ideas from DUP. So Eric, one of the Citadel Nutrition sponsored athletes, just on Facebook a little bit ago, talking about powerlifting routines and small op. He said he doesn't want to do that much volume. He said that's fine. Like on your 10 sets of 3 day, you don't have to do 10 sets of 3 at 85%. You can do 6 sets of 3 at 85%. It's going to be a lot less volume. You're going to be able to recover more, stuff like that. It's not going to be as much time if time's an issue. So that's a good way to think about it. Small Op Junior or the Small Op squat program is a great way to get ideas for DUP. Your actual question was setting up sets and rep schemes and continuing progress. There's definitely going to be a time where you're not going to just be able to add weight. What I like to do with kind of any programming, especially DUP, is start people off a little bit lighter than what they probably should be doing. So they kind of hit the ground running, build up some confidence, build up some momentum. Maybe like their first week or two, you're not hitting PRs, but especially if you're new to DUP, you have that kind of frequency, like 3-4 times a week. It might take you a while to adapt, so it's probably not ideal to, if you're doing like 1 time a week, 5x5 at 75%, and you go to like 3 or 4 times a week, your 5x5 days shouldn't be 75%, because you have to factor in you're also doing more volume on those other days you hadn't been used to. But a good way to think about it is, start off with maybe like minor percentages. So a good way to think about it, like on the sets of 3, start off like 85% of your 1 rep max, which won't be terribly hard. 85% of a 1 rep max for a triple won't be crazy hard. Say you're not want to do like a true small off, maybe do like a 5 set to 3, 6 set to 3 kind of protocol can be a good place to start. If you hit that amount, just try to add 5 pounds to it. So you're pretty much doing like 85% plus 5 pounds, or 85% plus 10 pounds the next week. Or what you could end up doing is just changing your training max. So again, if you're doing 85%, then bump that up 5 or 10 pounds just the next week, and do that for as long as you can. And then when you can't do that, a good way to think about it is try to add sets to that. So say you get to a point where like, okay, you hit 5 sets to 3 at 315, 325, 335, 345, 350, 355, then you're like, okay, I didn't hit it 1 week. Try it again, didn't hit it another week. Okay, now that you haven't been able to progress like you had in the previous 6 or 7 other weeks, now try to, instead of doing 5 sets to 3 at 350, try to do 6 sets of 3, and then do another week of 7 sets of 3, and then 8 sets of 3. Build up that volume tolerance, then drop back down like a 5 sets of 3 and see if you can hit that new PR there, if that makes sense. Or another way to think about it is if you're doing something that high volume, if you're trying to get that extra like 5 or 10 pounds, maybe not try to do it like all 5 sets. Try to do it like have your first set be like at that 350. If your 355 is your PR, do 355 for like 1 or 2 sets and then back it down a little bit. So you got some work with that new weight, but just because you didn't do it all 5 sets doesn't mean you didn't progress. That's a good way, I think, to answer that is best I could. So again, add weight for as long as you can. If that doesn't work, add sets. And again, this getting kind of long on DUP explanation, but monitoring your volume on DUP is incredibly important. You can't just add volume and add volume and add weight for a long time. So again, you probably every 4 to 8 weeks you want to taper off your volume. So if you're talking about you traditionally do 12 sets of squats, so say week 1 you do 12 sets of squats, week 2, so you add like a set each day, do 15 sets of squats. Week 3 you do 18 sets of squats, build up that volume. Then maybe week 4, don't back off the intensity, still try to PR, but maybe like cut your volume in half, like do 9 sets of squats the whole week. So say for instance, if you want to do like on a day-by-day schedule, take your first squat day, say if you're doing like a 3x5 week 1, 4x5 week 2, 5x5 week 3, and then do like a 1 or 2x5 on week 4. That way you can probably hit a PR because your volume's down, and it helps you to recover a lot more. Recovery is a lot more about volume, in my opinion, than intensity. You can probably go out and max out on squats or deadlifts and not feel that toasted. But if you do a heavy 5x5, that's hard to recover from. So make sure if you are doing DUP or some kind of form like that, with high lifts or high frequency and high volume of the lifts, that every few weeks you're dropping your volume, tapering your volume back a little bit. So hopefully that answers your question, Adrian. And I got the last question of the Q&A here. Farhan Kabir. Again, I said this in the first video. If I butcher your name, I apologize. Hey man, just saw your Q&A vid. Was wondering, despite the power strength workouts like West Side Barbell, Windler 531, etc., is there any hypertrophy workouts we can focus upon for bulk? Was hoping to add mass in arms and shoulders. Yes, I know about progressive overload. I'm still doing them. Just wanted to know if I should focus on hypertrophy workout programs, and if so, any suggestions? Thanks. Bangladesh. Wow, cool. Getting that bit of Alani tingle. So your questions about kind of hypertrophy type stuff outside of true powerlifting, strength training stuff. I would say I'm kind of in the camp that says most of your hypertrophy gains are going to come from getting stronger. So a lot of people want to do like a strength routine or a bodybuilding routine, like a powerlifting routine or a bodybuilding routine, but I don't think they're that far apart. I think I don't want to get like a number out there, but majority of your gains are going to come from putting more weight on a barbell or using heavier dumbbells or whatever. And then, you know, the icing on the cake is going to be the pump work, the density training, stuff like that. But so that's why I'm a big fan. I've never competed in a powerlifting meet, but I've done Windler 531. I'm doing the cube method right now. I utilize daily undulated periodization most of the time, at least recently, focusing on increasing the bench, squat, deadlift, overhead press, barbell, hip thrust, any kind of barbell lift. If I'm putting weight on a barbell, at least in my physique and most people that I've worked with, it adds muscle, assuming that they're dieting correctly. That's a big factor as well. But a good way to think about this, look up the Brett Contreras, maybe it was co-authored by Brad Schoenfeld. It was a really good article about like maximal training for muscle growth or something like that. Just search kind of those words of Brett Contreras and you'll find it. I think it was in one of my newsletters if you're subscribed to that on my website a few months ago. But he talked about, this is how I set up most of my programs for people that are like solely interested in bodybuilding. He talked about that, again, majority of your results are going to come from getting stronger. So it's important that you're doing back squat, not back squat. It's important that you're doing a squat variation, a deadlift variation, some kind of pressing variations, and you're getting stronger in those lifts if your goal is to add muscle. Again, I'll say that too. I don't care if you're only trying to be a bodybuilder. Don't tell me how much you feel it here or you want the squeeze there. Your primary goal should be to get stronger regardless of if you're a bodybuilder or powerlifter. But then, where I think it kind of strays off from the difference between being a bodybuilder and a powerlifter, I think if you're a true powerlifter, you shouldn't really be wasting your time much with accessory work. For the most part, you want to talk about, you only have a given amount of time training. You probably don't want to spend 20 minutes doing curls and tricep extensions. You're probably better off doing more bench press or maybe doing like an overhead press or something like that. But if you're a bodybuilder, I definitely think there's some legitimacy to the pump kind of work. So for instance, if you want to do like a push day or an upper day, something like that, start off your workout with like a bench press or overhead press, incline barbell press, some kind of barbell lift. You can do dumbbells as well, but I think for most people, a barbell is probably a better place to start. Try to get stronger in that movement, so maybe at least have like a heavy push, a heavy pull. If you're doing an upper body day, focus on getting those movements up. Maybe do like one or two kind of medium assistance exercises. So maybe like follow up your barbell bench press with like an overhead press for like 8 to 10 reps if you're a bodybuilder, a little bit higher stuff. Same thing with like your rowing variation. Do like a heavy row, 6 to 8 reps, and then do like a higher rep row of like 8 to 12 or something. And then you can, pick one or two muscle groups out and do some metabolic, I call it like metabolic type training. Say if you do like an arm curl, do like 2 heavy sets, again, so you can still get stronger in these movements. Do like 2 heavy sets of like, 6 to 8, 8 to 10 reps curl, and then do 2 like drop sets. So you're doing, say again, easy example here, do a dumbbell curl. Like for me, I'd probably do like 40s for like 2 sets of 6 to 8. Take like a minute or 2 break in between those sets, and then drop it down to like 20, 25 pounds. Just do like, 10 plus reps and get the burn and all that stuff. I definitely think you'll get some advantage from doing that stuff. As a bodybuilder, if you're just trying to max out muscle hypertrophy, I definitely think there's some good literature and obviously a lot of past anecdotal evidence from Arnold and stuff about the pump and metabolic stress, stuff like that as far as muscle growth. So again, to answer your question more succinctly, you're well aware of progressive overload, which is going to be what's predominantly what's going to get you muscle. So get on a good kind of program, whether it's a strength-based program like a 531 or something like that, DUP. Get stronger in the barbell lifts, but if you're also wanting to get hypertrophy, I don't even think you really need like hypertrophy days, honestly. I would just add in mostly like smaller muscle groups. After your bench press, do some higher rep tricep work. After your squats, do some higher rep leg extensions and leg curls. Or after your deadlift work, do some high rep hip thrust. Get that metabolic type stuff in addition to getting stronger. And I think that sets yourself up, along with diet, the variable I didn't talk about. I think that sets yourself up for pretty much the best possible musculature gains that you're going to get. So that's the video, guys. I think I had like 3, 4, maybe 5-part series to this. It took me like an hour. So hopefully, guys, you appreciate these videos. Thank everyone for their questions. I had like 10 or 15 pretty good questions. Hopefully, you guys learned some stuff. I may do one of these in the future. Yes, thanks you guys. If you're new here, you like this Q&A, make sure you give them a like and all that stuff. Subscribe to my channel. My channel hasn't been growing that much lately, but that's kind of my fault. I don't really put too much effort in besides training information or my training videos. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching the video. Hopefully I answer all your questions. Stay tuned for all my training videos and stuff like that. And take care, guys.